Yeah, it's definitely important to strike a balance of like being able to still maintain like social distancing, like while you still do these things to kind of like take care of your mental health. So I guess something else I was wondering just for all of you is what are some other things that you did or that you would suggest to our audience to take care of your mental health during such difficult times?
I think there are numerous, like, I know there's a lot of like helpful helplines as well that have been expanding towards, like, for example, like its help phone as well has been expanding to take on more callers in this time because especially like as naturally as they would expect, they've been receiving a higher volume of calls with everyone being isolated. And I know that a lot of like helplines too have been expanding in order to just accommodate the sheer amount of people that will now be calling, having to be quarantined and staying at home. So that's something that can be addressed if you feel that like your mental well-being is taking that dark of a turn, or if things are that unmanageable for you. It's definitely no shame in seeking intervention in terms of helplines as well. That's something that's definitely like their job to do and their job to speak and hear you out. And there are definitely other counseling that you can also look through online. I'm not entirely sure about examples myself, but I know there are, at least at Western, there's some mental health counseling as well that you can reach out to that are expanding online. And there's stuff that you can do, but I'm not entirely sure about just like general population.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess expanding on that too, like since your mental health right now is like more essential than ever, I think it's important to like maintain that connection with your friends, that support system that you would have at school or at work, and just keeping in touch and like keeping that same vulnerability and conversation going with your classmates and with your peers, because you can. I feel like you could still get like somewhat of the same effect just talking to them. Everyone's going through the same issue right now, the same struggle of like being in like this unknown environment in these like weird times. And I feel like just talking about that and like really expressing how you feel about it, and like if you're overwhelmed or if you're stressed or feeling pain, it's important so that the people around you can understand that too. Because I think right now, this is bringing us like a bit closer together, even though it's keeping us apart. Um, us feeling the same, going through the same experience is like a key defining moment for most of our lives. Like this is probably the most impactful thing that's ever happened to our planet, in the time in our generation at least, and like probably the craziest year in our lives as well, with everything else going on. And just like having all those things that we are experiencing together, is like it's more the reason for us to like keep talking to each other and make sure that like we're not going through this alone.
Yeah, I think another aspect of just how crazy our current lives are is trying to find a way to try to kind of cool down and go back to your everyday life. And something we've been talking about a lot over the course of this conversation was running, but even beyond that, just trying to catch up on whatever hobbies you can. Some of my friends and I, we used to do a lot of music together. Like we were in a band in high school, and something we're trying to do is we're actually trying to record each of ourselves like playing instruments or doing whatever sections and trying to edit that together. Although we haven't gotten anything together yet, it's something to kind of look forward to and trying to bring back a little bit of normalcy back into our lives, whatever hobbies you can. And I think that really helps with your mental health because it keeps you kind of steady. It keeps you on your feet and keeps you kind of appreciating every day of trying to think of instead of trying to think of what you can't do during COVID, it's kind of what can we still do, I guess.
Oh, what kind of music do you do? Is it like original or do you do like covers or something?
Oh, we do covers. Back in high school, like our band was kind of whack. So one of us played saxophone. We had like a pianist.
Ooh.
I played trombone, but now I think we're having me sing instead. So it's all like we just kind of had fun with it. And back in the day, we didn't do a lot of planning like separately. We would kind of just show up at someone's house and we'd just have a jam session and we'd figure out what we wanted to do if we were performing somewhere. But now it's kind of more planning, more thinking like meticulously about what we want to do. but it's still fun. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, that's what matters the most, honestly,
Yeah.
is just having those jam sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going off the music thing. I think, again, I think the pandemic's definitely made me appreciate art and culture more and more, because I realized that um, when you're looking for someone to turn to, it's always like some form of art that like gets you away from the world and like lets you appreciate humanity a bit more. So whether that's like music or visual art. Right now, I was listening to J. Cole's latest single. It was about the entire Black Lives Matter movement and what he had to say about it. And I realized that like a lot of artists right now are taking this time when they're like unable to like be doing like the publicity stuff or any like news conferences, and they're just at home in their studio or something like that. It brings out like a lot of creativity since there's like so much emotion going around, and there's the opportunity to sit around and just like be with your own thoughts. It's providing for like some of the best work there is, and a lot of powerful messages. As like I'm a hip hop fan, and a lot of the time hip hop's associated with like just party songs or like something high energy that you can listen to like during a workout. But I mean, I hate using the term woke, but right now the music and the art that's coming out of the world is like it has a more emotional message connected to it, whether it's through the suffering that people are going through or through like some overarching social message that they're trying to spread. There's more of that than ever before, and it's like from feelings like what Dan was describing with the feeling of need to like sit down and just like breathe that art, which is like really cool.
Great. So I think we can all agree that we've learned a lot from being in this pandemic, a lot about ourselves, how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And what do you think, or how do you think this pandemic has really changed your approach to overall maintaining this healthy lifestyle, both physically and mentally?
I
I
think
think
That's a tough one. I'm gonna let Ashwin go first, actually.
okay. I think definitely, like as I was saying before about how in academics, how with it being such like a high focus, I definitely put that above others, especially in more stressful situations where it's like exam season. I definitely admit to putting that over my own physical or sometimes even my own mental health as well. So that's something that's really easy to slip into. And I think definitely during this quarantine, while it definitely is a shame that a lot of opportunities were closed to a lot of people due to what's going on, but I feel like especially we can definitely make the most of it by using this as a reason to focus even more on our physical and mental health. I know definitely when something I was really excited for about Western was like the iGym team, and that when it being kind of pushed off till later in the year or maybe having to wait possibly even like the next coming spring was definitely like a big bummer for me. But I think that knowing that there's stuff to do later and things being pushed off gave me the time now to focus on my own physical and mental health. So I think that having quarantine definitely put me in terms of more focused in actually caring for my own physical and mental health, because during these times where we're definitely have a lot more free time on our hands, it's something that's definitely really essential to tackle with all this free time. So I think that it especially helped me to bring a bigger importance into that and not let it be sidetracked by other work that I had to do if it was like school or extracurriculars.
I think something else that kind of shifted in my approach was just the sense of appreciation for things that we kind of took for granted before. I know Ashwin mentioned earlier that he was trying to do like a sort of gratitude journal. And I feel like I have a huge amount of respect for being able to be transparent with yourself about the things that you appreciate, the things that make you happy. And I think understanding what you appreciate, being able to like put gratitude into things that you sort of just expected to happen, normally just took for granted, being able to appreciate like the smaller things in life is something that makes me feel a lot better mentally. And in terms of physicality, it also pushes me to do more things. things because it helps keep me stable, like going out for runs and trying to be healthy, because these are the things that we kind of said, oh, you could do it whenever, but now we have to be careful about it. We have to be mindful of the people around us, and being able to appreciate the times where we can do things keeps me leading a much healthier lifestyle in that sense.
There's a meme page on Facebook called Zoom Memes for Self Quarantines. Like,
Oh yeah, I think I'm a part of
popular.
that.
But there was like a really sad little picture that was posted. It was like, oh, I wish I kissed the homies goodnight before we left. And I think, yeah, the biggest thing about this pandemic is like a bigger appreciation for my friends, and like that, like missing the social interaction and like being able to hang out so easily on campus, where like, in the workplace, is like a really integral part of like being happy and like, feeling fulfilled. And not having that just makes me appreciate those things a lot more. So I think when the next time comes around and we're back, and you're able to go out for dinner, or just like playing cards or something, like it'll definitely be something that you can appreciate a lot more.
Yeah, definitely, like having those moments, like you were saying about how like being able to after such a long time of quarantine, being able to actually hang out in person will definitely be a lot more meaningful. And I think this will definitely be a turning point for people to be a lot more grateful for the physical interactions that they can have, because it definitely shows like how easily it can be taken away and how like easily it is for people to have to just stay home and isolated from each other. So that's
Yeah.
something too that like I'm really, I guess, just hopeful towards and like looking forward towards. And kissing the homies goodnight too is always a positive.
Yeah, it's the funnier way to put it.
Yeah, and I definitely like what you mentioned. It definitely does give, like, the whole quarantine and just the pandemic in general does give you a different perspective on things in life. Like you guys did talk about whether it's just like exercise, like prioritizing your health over other aspects of life, and also just like the appreciation for like the art and culture industry. Like, especially now with a lot of museums and things like that being free, you definitely do get to explore that a lot more. So yeah, while the circumstances might not be ideal, yeah, it definitely does give you an appreciation for the normalcy that we did have, and just give you an appreciation for just like taking care of yourself more, I guess.
Yeah, and like the museum thing you mentioned before, I actually did like a museum, like one of those virtual museum tours, like myself, like a little while back, because I guess I just like had the free time, and I was like, I've never actually like done one of these before, or like I've been to museums, but like none of like the virtual tours, or like none of like those like art museums. So I was like, it's better time than any, just to explore and just try it out.
There's like actually a couple really cool resources online. I know the Smithsonian's doing this, but they're doing like virtual tours and stuff that are related to like their actual exhibits. And since like we're not able to do that right now, that's always like, I mean, it's nowhere close to like being able to like walk through and like stare in amazement at all the cool things. But I feel like that's something cool you can check out.